Well, as good as Boro have been this season, the XG points to the fact that up front, perhaps something isn't quite working. Hope you're doing well. We've got Sean, Craig, Jonathan back with us for another 20 minutes of Middlesbrough debate. Coming up this week, we're also reviewing, why did Boro abstain from the Blackburn Ipswich vote? Should the playoffs jump down to 8th place? And we're starting the A to Z of Middlesbrough's history. For you, A stands for who or what. We'll get your views on that at the end. Here's what AI suggests, and I think is a good shout as well. Can you beat good old Jeremy going into the Middlesbrough Encyclopedia? How are we doing, Sean, Craig, Jonathan? We all good? We're fresh back from Southampton? Yeah, all
Good.
safe and
All
sound.
good.
Good stuff. We're recording this, of course, before the midweek game against Stoke City, so we can't talk too much about the result. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, you'll have battered Mark Robbins and another 3 points on the board. But Sean, you've noticed this XG. What's going on up front, do you think? Is there a problem?
Not so much a problem. I think we just need to be aware of the fact that everything has gone to plan. And I wouldn't say we've been fortunate. We've made our own luck, but I was quite surprised to look at the XG sort of stats and see that we were down there in about 22nd. And I guess then when you think back to the goals that we've scored, maybe all of them were, I mean, like Senny's goal against Southampton was, he didn't really have any right to score from there, to be honest. And I think that's happened a few times where a little bit of magic or it's gone in a bit of a goalmouth scramble and we've sort of gotten away with it. I just wonder, hopefully it clicks a little bit. And I think Jonathan's alluded to it a few times about the number 10s and the striker, not quite as fluid as we might have hoped for so far. But saying that, we've got players at the top end of the pitch who do have a little moment of magic and can get it out of jail, but maybe just a bit more fluidity. And that might start with dropping Morgan Whittaker. I'm sure Craig will be on board with that.
I mean, I've resisted putting in tweets this week about Morgan Whittaker. There was plenty of them saying he's a fraud, acting as a footballer, etc., etc. And before we start going to Jonathan, look, none of us are saying that this is a bad start to the season. You're sitting top of the league, undefeated again so far. Although, Jonathan, that came very close, didn't it, to your first defeat season? Was that the poorest Borough have been so far for you?
It was a bit messy, wasn't it? And Edwards alluded to it too. You know, first half, misplaced passes in particular. And he actually, Edwards' interview at the end, he nailed it perfectly. He said, look, when we tried to play it up the middle, it got messy. You know, we lost possession too many times. But when we got in behind them, because they played a high line and we took it out wide a bit, then we were more effective. And that was kind of the story of the game. Once the lads kind of worked that out and started doing that a bit more, we became more effective. It was frustrating because Southampton were there for the taking. They weren't a good team, I didn't think. I wasn't impressed by them at all. But we left the door open for them, really. And, I'm glad to get a point, to be honest with you. After 90 minutes, I thought, I don't want a last minute. I can't see us getting a last minute winner. Let's say, the ref blow up. So, good point on the road.
Yeah. Craig, is Sean right, going back to the main talking point?
Yeah, I mean, I know we kind of like talked about this earlier about the goals, and if you're not creating a lot, you're relying on either moments of magic or a scramble or just like kind of like fluke. And like I kind of like remember a few goals that we've scored. I mean, I remember Senna's goal. Obviously, it was just one off. It was a great ball by Yerlin. But the goals at Preston, it was a moment of magic by Naipan. And then the equaliser was just an absolute like mess scramble. Conway's goal, Sheffield United, was like a one-off, like again, like a through ball. Like it's like 3, 4, 5 goals are like a through ball from not exact attack and play. They are good balls, do you know what I mean? It's a great assist, but they're not kind of what there would be training and about adding like in phases and attacking thirds and like pressure and creating XG and issues like that. So although we are scoring, those kind of things will dry up. So scrambles won't go our way, and the set pieces we might not score off. And So that's where the kind of the front. Well, I know it's the front three because we're playing with the striker and two behind, but the kind of the attacking third does need to start gelling. But again, like Sean said, I think an issue with that is Whittaker. I think we can't, at the top end of the pitch, you can't afford to have somebody who's misfiring that this badly.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, about the old kind of up the top of the pitch. Last season, I was always talking about the other end of the pitch, and we used to change every game, because of injury or whatever. This season, it's if you look at it, it's like Whittaker +1, Whittaker change with Bergzog, Whittaker with Hackney, Whittaker with Neepan, Whittaker with Hansen. Now Conway's in there, Strelic's up top. So they've not settled on a formation yet of what their their best kind of moment is. And I guess you'd probably say that after 7 games to say, yeah, new players, they're still settling in. Nobody's hit 100% form yet, after 7 games. So they're still trying to work that bit out, and they haven't quite got it yet. So I think, the stats like Sean's picked out there quite rightly represent. So we haven't quite got it up top yet, and neither has Edwards, and he changes everything each game. And I'll have a look, actually. All our goals are pretty much second half. I think we've scored 1 in the first half so far. So it's basically after his changes, something clicks, something fires, and off we go. So it's it's an interesting time, I have to say, but you have to applaud him for getting it right eventually.
What should happen with Morgan Whittaker, Sean? I mean, he's had his arm round him. He's obviously had the fans on his back. Nothing seems to be going right for him. Do you feel sorry for him, or are you now at the point where he just needs to be benched?
I think he needs taking up the firing line a little bit. I think he's tried the option of firing him up, backing him, putting him in every week and saying, I'm putting my faith in you, ignore the outside noise and get on with it. But something is not quite right. And let's hope that if he is taking up the firing line and we're doing well, there are moments where he can bring him into a good mood and something goes in for him, because we've all said it. It's taken a long time. He didn't arrive this summer. He arrived last season. He knows his team. He knows his teammates. You should understand what it expected of him. But for whatever reason, it's just not happening. And I think with the sort of plethora of individuals we've got now and the depth, he can't really warrant starting every week, because it would be unfair on the lads that are actually coming in and making a difference, I think.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. Let us, of course, let us know in the comments what you think. Let's go and look to the future then. 2 games this week. The midweek fixtures start, of course, and Jonathan, the fixtures computer has thrown up. I mean, it's difficult to put Boro fairly anywhere in the country, of course, on the midweek ones, but there's 9 midweek fixtures, and in those 9 fixtures you play 4 teams twice. That's Stoke City, Leicester, Coventry, and Charlton, with an odd one thrown in there. Could that have been worse for Boro?
I don't know. To be honest, that midweek, look, it's interesting with Stoke coming up. I had a look. They started really well, but they haven't won for a couple of games, have they? I think they had a draw in the state, haven't they? So, look, under the lights, West Brom was Friday night, wasn't it? Under the lights, midweek game. It's hard to call. Is it good? Is it bad? I'll tell you after the game whether we've lost or won or lost. If we win, it's a good thing. If it's bad, it's working against us.
Yeah, those games against Coventry are going to be good, isn't it? Given how both teams have started, though, Craig. It's a shame they're going to be midweek ones, but it'll make it probably extra spicy when it under the lights for both of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's Lampard's doing a great job, and especially at the end of the season that he had with them as well. But God, I'm sick of the sight of him.
Other bits of news this week, then. I want to ask you all your opinion on this one. So, Blackburn Ipswich was cancelled last week, and the EFL panel, of which Boro with 1 team sat on there. But they decided to abstain from voting on what happened, along with Preston and Norwich, which I can understand. Preston and Norwich, obviously their connections with Ipswich and Rovers, but why have Boro not putting their oar in against a fixture between Blackburn and Ipswich? I find it absolutely baffling. Any clues?
No, I saw that earlier on. When you mentioned we were going to talk about that, and I thought, I haven't got the foggiest why we'd abstain. To be honest with you, I couldn't think of a genuine reason why we wouldn't.
Surely it can't be back to the 3 points, can it?
I was just thinking
that was the relation with Blackburn, but that was the Premier League anyway. It wasn't the EFL.
Yeah, it's like a generation ago, that isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you really harbour that grudges for that long?
Yeah, too late. Still cut deep. We'd have won the league after that if we never went down.
Let us know in the comments why you've not wanted to interfere
That's defo one for the comments. Yeah, I think the viewers need to step in there for sure because I haven't got the figures.
Right, let's get your thoughts on this one then, please, Craig. The EFL this week have announced that they are in talks to expand the playoffs to include 7th and 8th place, which would have been in the past been great for Boro, wouldn't it? I mean, you've been there, but I want to get your thoughts on whether this is, first of all, is it good for Boro and is it good for football in general, Craig?
Well, is it just like another kind of marketing thing that at the end of the season they have a few more games for marketing and income? So they're just trying to kind of commercialise it again and again, aren't they? They're trying to every little avenue that they can expand upon and increase their revenue. They're trying, but the playoffs are amazing how it works. I mean, I know other leagues differ slightly. Is it the National League that where one goes up and the others? But I mean, even every single season when it comes to May time and the playoff finals to come, all you see is like the playoffs are like the best bit of football. You don't get it anywhere else in the world where everything comes down to your full season. It's 4 teams in it, Wembley final, and you're up. So they just try and push. Yeah, like I said, like every avenue to try and get extra income. But no, I think it's perfect the way it is.
Okay. John, do you understand it from a business point of view? I mean, they're also saying that there's so many dead rubbers at the end of the season, past Easter Monday. Sometimes there's whole weeks of games for some clubs that just mean absolutely nothing. So by extending it to 8th, you can reasonably expect somebody still maybe in 13th could end up in the playoffs, or is that just hocus pocus?
I just think it's a bit a step too far already. You can have somebody in 6th place who's way behind the front runners, and we accept it because of the excitement and what it brings and more eyes on the league and stuff. But I think to go that far down the league, I just think it wouldn't really sit right with me that somebody that could be, I don't know, on 50 or 60 points or something is there challenging for the Premier League on a one-off game. I just think that's a bit harsh, I think.
Yeah, Millwall were on 66 points last year, Jonathan, compared to Sheffield United's 90. The difference between 3rd and 8th is just vast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I guess, look, if you're the team who's kind of sat there around 8th, you're quite pleased about it, aren't you? And thinking, I'll have a bit of that, thank you very much. We've still got half a chance. But yeah, you think you go through 46 games and then, someone potentially goes up based on a couple of games at the end of the season, because they have the luck with them at the end of the season. I'm with the other guys. I'm not entirely sure. Should go back to what we did in '88 when remember Chelsea finished was it bottom 3 and they had to play us in the playoffs, so it was either they stayed up or we went up and we sent them down. They should do that again. Yeah. Premier League team versus Championship. Do that.
Yeah. They do that in Scotland, don't they? I think so. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Right then, a little bit of fun at the end of this week. Then, so we're opening the A to Z of Middlesbrough. We're doing an encyclopedia of Middlesbrough history. We're looking at all the people connected to the great club. That should feature in this A to Z. We're starting, of course, with the letter A. Now, if we're doing players, it needs to be by surname, so that rules out obviously some Aidan Morris, for example, who you might want to stick in for A, but that's not allowed. Can you beat any of you can beat Ali Adier? Before we do, in the comments, please, obviously help them out. For this, Craig, where are we starting here? It can be obviously a place as well. What goes in for A?
Yeah, well, the first obvious thing that sprang to mind was Ayresome Park. Obviously, it was an absolute, obviously people look at it now and think oh, what a place, it was amazing, but it was a shithole and it stunk. But generally you got peed on, you came out, your shoes were soaking and that. I was only young when I was there, but yeah, but then I was thinking about it and I liked Afonso Alves. just an absolute random signing for massive money. And he was shocking, bless him. And he came at a bad time, like Southgate was manager and stuff like that. And obviously it's a double A, so I get double points, don't I?
Yeah, double points. Yeah. Fortunately, it don't work like that. Sean, can you beat Ayresome Park? I mean,
no, you can't beat Ayresome Park.
Yeah,
Ayresome Park's got to go in there. That was my first taste of live football. Was a reserve game there, and I remember Bernie Slaven coming up to me and stuff. So that was magical for me. But I'm going to rival Craig with a double A, and I'm going to go Alan Armstrong, who wasn't the best forward, but he came at quite an important time for us and got a few key goals when we got promoted. I think 97, 98. And he was a proper old style marauding sort of centre forward. So yeah, that would be mine.
Yeah, I mean, you moved to the Riverside, Jonathan, before I started kind of being allowed to go to away games. So what describe to me what Ayresome Park was like if you were, an away fan?
Oh Christ, if you're an away fan, it was horrendous. I used to work in Altrincham in Manchester, and one of the lads there was a big United fan, and he said it was the worst away place you'd ever go to. And I remember I used to work in one of the shops at the Cleveland Centre, and every Saturday you'd see the big police escort and all the away fans get escorted through the town centre all the way up to Ayresome Park. But as a home fan, it was brilliant. I loved it. We used to go right in the middle of the old gate, dance up and down, EIOs, all the Geordies went to Rome and all that kind of stuff. Brucey Rioch's Red and Right Army. And then Brucey had a sign up saying, Brucey requests no racism and no swearing and no missile throwing. It was the plea to the home fans at the Holgate end.
Do you remember the woman who used to go around with the pies? The big white tray, like full of pies, and everyone used to rush down at half time and like throw a quid at her and like hot your pie over to you and that. But what was your first game? Can you remember at Ayresome Park?
Yeah, my first one was Liverpool at home in '82. So we
82?
drew 2-1. We got beat. So funny if Shearer scored for us. And then that was with like my dad and my granddad. And then after that, it was kind of really that season of Brucey Rioch where, Bradford in the playoffs and, Leicester, we had to beat them to go up automatically and we didn't. So that was me kind of, and then you kind of edged me way around from being on the edge of the whole gate and kind of got yourself with my mates to the middle of it. And when you're in the middle, it was just chaos because obviously it was standing and you scored a goal and you started in the middle and you ended up anywhere. We had a right good time. Enjoyed it a lot. Great place.
Right. Sorry, Jonathan, I forgot to ask you. Did you have any other A's for us?
Well, yeah. So look, I'll be honest. I've cheated a bit, right? So I messaged my mates Jamie and Mark, right, and the Boro chat group. So they give me a couple of clues, and I thought actually they picked up a couple of good ones, right? So two they've got administration is one, right? So even though it's a club time, it's a massive part of our history.
Yeah,
86 we almost died and all that, So
yeah. Okay.
I don't think anything outdoes Ayresome Park, but I thought that was a decent one. And also player-wise, Dave Armstrong Spike from the Jack Charlton era went to Southampton later on in his career, but he was a great player for us, I have to say. Old Spike was.
Cool.
And then the final one I had for away, and everyone could say it, but at Boro especially, you've got to go away fans. We are fantastic away from home. The support we get is legendary. So. Yeah. I think there's some good A's in there, I have to say. It's not just Ayresome Park, there's a few other good ones.
Good shouts, those. And speaking of away fans, a trip to Southampton last weekend, trip to Portsmouth this weekend as well. If you are a Boro fan that's been on both of them coaches or been travelling, big shout out to you, droppers alike as well. If you want to we'll read your name out if you've been out on both as well. Put it in the comments. I think Ayresome Park's going to have to win this one, isn't it, fellas? I don't think we can exclude your beginnings from an encyclopedia of Boro. So sorry to all those players, including Jeremy as well. He's misunderstood Jeremy, wasn't he?
I disagree. Right. I think he was very well understood.
Right. Oh, by the way, next week we're of course doing the letter B. So let's get some early shouts in the comments for us, and please, who needs to go into the record books for Middlesbrough player B? Thanks so much, you three, for joining us. Enjoy the game against Stoke City. Probably not going to be for the purists I'll be honest. And then we'll get your views on the Pompey game in 7 days' time. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in 7. Drop us a quick subscribe on your way out. Have a good one.